What's up guys, it's your girl TORTILLA and we're back with another kids cook video. Last time we made colorful summer popsicles, so if you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out. Okay, so today we're going to be making 3 different recipes for a healthy summer lunch. Those recipes include a Fiesta Corn on the cob, a corn burrito bowl, and a homemade tortilla chips. So first we will be making the corn burrito bowl. For the first step of our corn burrito bowl, we'll be making our cilantro vinaigrette dressing. You will need olive oil, sugar, lime, garlic, cilantro, and salt and pepper to taste. When you have 2 liquids of different densities, such as oil and vinegar, they tend to separate if allowed to sit for a while. I'm going to show you what will happen. So we have our mason jar, and first we have oil. Next we have our vinegar. And lastly, our food coloring. Next we're going to put on our lid and shake it. You can already see that the oil and vinegar are already separated and the food coloring is in the middle. Let's see what happens when we shake it. It turns into this blue liquid with a few molecules of the oil still in there that you can blatantly see. But it's already starting to separate. At the bottom, that's the vinegar coming out as a darker blue. And it's slowly starting to rise. You can see that our vinegar and oil have already separated, which is why we are going to blend, whisk, or shake our dressings. I'm going to start off with our cans, and when we do this, this is our rag that I also wiped down our surface with. It's got it wet again. I'm just going to wipe off all the cans because when we use this if we use this to drain our corn, it has to be clean because then the germs are going to get inside it. Okay. When using black beans, you want to drain and rinse them. One cool thing about black beans is that they're a superfood, and when choosing beans to make a bowl at a restaurant or really anything while using beans, you want to choose black beans over the other types. Okay, so now we're gonna cut our cheese, and I bought part skim milk, so it's healthier and less fat in it. And you can buy it pre-crumbled, but I bought it in a block. So I just popped about half of it out. It's really already crumbly. I'm gonna take my paring knife and kind of chop it up a little bit and crumble it with my hands. And with my extra cheese, because I crumbled quite a bit, I'm just gonna put it in a Ziploc bag and I'm gonna add it to some of my other salads this week. And just a quick review on knife safety. We wanna make sure that we're using a cloth, keeping our tip down when we chop, and make sure that our flat side is down. Shout out to Sue for teaching us that in Kids Cook. And we're just gonna give this a rough chop. The nice thing about buying a head of lettuce is that it's super cheap and it will last a little bit longer in your refrigerator. So just to make sure that our lettuce is super clean, I'm gonna be using a salad spinner. We're just gonna pop off the top, take our lettuce, pop it into the green part. Next, we're gonna wanna pop on our lid and lock it in place. Okay, and then we're just gonna add our water. Now we're going to drain our water by using this hole that we put our water in. And if you are doing this in the sink, you can just put your faucet right in there. I'm just gonna dump it out. By using a salad spinner, it will drain all the excess water, which helps your dressing stick. And there's our lettuce. We're gonna be cutting our red onion, and first I'm just gonna cut off almost half, but not exactly. And next we're just gonna peel off the skin. And when you're cutting your onion, just be careful not to touch your eyes or anything. You could use gloves if you want to, but onions have an enzyme that make you cry. And when we're chopping our onion, again, flat side down, the tip stays down in our bear claw, and this is what your claw is supposed to look like. And when we're chopping our onion, we want to dice it, so it's going to be the size of dice. And we need about a fourth a cup of this. Okay, next I'm going to be cutting our avocado, and a good way to tell if it's right is that it's soft. And also a YouTuber from when I was watching another kid's cooking video is you can take off this little stem, and if it is green underneath, it's ripe, and if it's brown, it's already gone bad. So I'm just gonna be using my paring knife, and I'm just gonna make a slit all the way around. And sometimes it doesn't match up, which is fine. Just try to align them. Okay, just gonna twist and it will pop right off. And this is our pit, and you cannot eat your pit, obviously. So I'm just gonna take our chef's knife, stab it, twist it, and pop it off. Okay. And now that we've taken out our pit, if you don't feel comfortable using your knife, you could also use a spoon to take out the seed. And that's how we know an avocado is actually a fruit. It has a seed, pulp, and skin. And to take it out, there's many ways, but a cool fact about avocado is it is a good, healthy fat. So you could slice and then dice it and then scoop it out with a spoon. You could turn it over, peel off the skin like this, and then chop it like this, and it is not a big mess. And then we're just gonna take our knife and slice it and dice it. Did you know that half of an avocado is 4.6 grams of fiber, which is more than any fruit has? Also, you can grow an avocado by taking the pit, washing it off, and getting a cup of water, taking toothpicks and poking them all around and setting it in there, and it will start to grow roots, and then you can plant it in your garden. I transferred my avocado into a bowl, and now we're gonna cut our cherry tomatoes. And a cool fact about cherry tomatoes is they're like a mini version of regular tomatoes, but they're just as nutritious. Cherry tomatoes are high in fiber and vitamin C, just like avocados, but it still does not have as much fiber as just a half of an avocado does. So we need a whole cup of these. So I'm going to be cutting about half the container. Did you know that tomatoes are originally from Peru and northern Chile? Okay, so now we're just gonna transfer this to our bowl, and then we're ready to assemble our bowls. We have everything prepared for our corn burrito bowl. It's time to assemble. If you were to leave the lettuce out of this recipe, it would be like a dip, and you could use our tortilla chips that we're going to make later on to dip it in. So as you can see, we have our rainbow of colors. We have red for our cherry tomatoes, yellow for our corn, green for avocado and our lettuce, purple for our red onion, white for cheese, and our black beans. Eating fruits and vegetables from the different color groups of the rainbow, each of the color groups does different good things for your body. So now it's time to assemble our bowls, and I'm gonna be making 2 different bowls. One is for me to eat right now for lunch, and the other one is going to be for tomorrow in our to-go container. So first we're gonna make a bed of lettuce in each bowl. Next we're going to add our corn and beans. Next is going to be our beans in both. Next is going to be our cherry tomatoes. I'm just gonna use my hands for these. Okay, next we're going to be adding our red onion. And the amount of each ingredient is just your preference. Next is our avocado, and I sliced half of it and then I diced the other half. And to make sure our avocado doesn't go brown in our to-go bowl, I'm going to be adding a little bit of lime juice. You could also use lemon juice, just really anything citrus will keep it from browning. And for our last ingredient, second to last ingredient, we're gonna be adding our cheese crumble. So these are our finished bowls. You can see the different colors and how bright and beautiful they are, and you can just see how healthy they're gonna be. Now that we finished our corn burrito bowls, it's time to move on to our next recipe, which is gonna be our Fiesta Corn. So I have 4 ears of corn, and if yours come with husk, you want to make sure to husk it and wash it really well, because there can be germs trapped between the husk and the corn, and you don't want to be eating that. So for this recipe, you're going to need 4 ears of corn, husked and washed, half a cup of low-fat mayonnaise, 1.5 cups of low-fat sour cream, and to make it even healthier, you could also use unflavored Greek yogurt. You're gonna need 1 tablespoon of tajin, and then 1 cup of the Hispanic cheese that we also used earlier for our bowls. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spray our griddle with olive oil. You can use a skillet, you can also use the oven if that's what you're most comfortable with. And if you don't want, and if you're not comfortable doing this, you can also have an adult do it for you. So now we're just gonna pop all of our corn on, and we're just gonna do this until it's slightly charred. While our corn is on the griddle, I'm going to be making our mixture that's gonna go on the corn. So we're gonna start off by adding our mayonnaise, and we're gonna add half a cup of this. Just checking our corn constantly, making sure it's not gonna burn, but we do want a nice char on it. So first we're gonna add half a cup of mayonnaise. Okay, now we're gonna add our mayonnaise to our bowl. And corn is rich in iron and vitamin B12 and is also rich in fiber and potassium. Next, we're gonna add our 1.5 cups of sour cream. Again, you could use Greek yogurt if that's what you prefer or if that's just what you have. And I'm just constantly moving our corn around so it doesn't burn, but it still, gets that color. We're just gonna mix up our mayonnaise and our sour cream, and our corn is moving along slowly but surely, but it's going pretty well over there. And we're gonna add our tajin next to this. So this is the low sodium tajin. You can use regular tajin. Trader Joe's has like a lime chili spice, and also like really any lime chili spice will work. So we're just gonna give this a good mix, and that's basically gonna be our sauce that's gonna go on our corn. While our corn is cooking, still I'm gonna go ahead and make our tortilla chips. And these are a healthier alternative to regular tortilla chips because these are baked in the oven, not fried. For our tortilla chips recipe, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You want to make sure that there's nothing in it, and you always want to ask permission to use it. And when putting something in or taking something out, you want to make sure that you use oven mitts. So, okay. So we're gonna start with our seasoning that's gonna go on it. So first we're gonna need a 1/3 cup of oil, and again, you're just gonna get down to eye level. Make sure. Okay. We're just gonna pour it into our bowl. And for our spices, you're gonna need garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, and black pepper. So first we're gonna start off with our onion powder. We're gonna need a 1/4 teaspoon of everything. And to measure it, we don't wanna pack it in there. We wanna use a knife to slice it off. Have our butter knife here. And if you don't have any of the powders, you could always use a dried chopped, you could use chopped onions that are dried and then mash it yourself. So here's our onion powder. Next we have our black pepper. Next we have our garlic powder. And then our cumin and cayenne. To mix our spices and our olive oil together, I'm going to be using a whisk and whisking it together. Next, I have 8 corn tortillas and a cookie sheet. And we're going to be taking each tortilla and brushing it with our olive oil mixture. But before we do that, I'm going to spray our pan with some olive oil to make sure that we don't get stuck or burn. Okay, I'm gonna be brushing the oil mixture on each side. And I'll be back when I'm done. I oiled all of my corn tortillas, and I had a little bit of oil left over, so I oiled a few more of them just so I could have some more chips. And I put them in 2 stacks, and I have been moving my corn around every few minutes. And I'm going to be using a pizza cutter on one stack and a knife for the other. And the pizza cutter is really easy to use because it just slices right through it and it gives it a really straight line. But a knife will also do the same thing, but for the pizza cutter, it's just going to work a little bit easier. I'm going to be using 2 different cookie sheets because I don't want them stacked on top of each other, because then they're gonna be cooking unevenly and we don't want that. And both ways, with a knife and a cookie cutter, work great. So again, I'm just gonna begin by laying them out again. Now that we have spaced out all of our cut corn tortilla chips, I'm going to be putting them in the oven now. Wearing pot holders, I'm just going to pull down the oven, pull out one of the racks, and go ahead and grab my first tray and put it in. And then I'm also going to be doing the second tray. And we're going to be baking these for 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to put mine in for 13 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to check them and I'll show you guys if they need a little bit more time. So it looks like my corn is about done, and I'm going to take them off one at a time and then put the mayonnaise mixture on, squeeze our lime juice, put the cheese crumble, and then our tajin on. So I just have this corn holder and I'm going to put it in at the bottom, and we're gonna spread our mayonnaise mixture on just using a brush. You could also use a spatula. Okay, next we're going to be squeezing our lime juice on. And now we're gonna add our cheese crumble. Next we're going to be sprinkling on our tajin. And this is a really healthy side dish because our corn is rich in fiber. I'm really pleased on how my corn turned out. And there's the timer for our chips. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try one of our chips with some salsa on it. It tastes just like a regular chip. Nice balanced lunch with something from all 5 food groups on our My Plate. We have tortilla chips from our grain group. We have our fruits, which consist of tomatoes, avocado, and lime. We have our vegetables, which consist of our lettuce, corn, red onion, and we have our dairy, which consists of our cheese, and our protein is our black beans. I hope you enjoyed our recipes that we made today. I hope yours turned out as well as mine did, and I hope you liked it as well as I did. You can go ahead and test your knowledge on the Kahoot down below, and thanks for watching.